Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our latest webinar. I'm Kevin, and I'm from the 42Gears US team. Today, we are here to talk about Apple's latest deployment portal, Apple Business Manager. Apple Business Manager helps businesses manage iOS and macOS devices with ease. It's an intuitive and consolidated portal designed to help businesses manage DP, VP, and content from a central point. Here to talk about Apple Business Manager, its benefits, and other features, I have Arman and Wasif, our product experts. Before we begin, I request that you drop any questions you may have during the presentation in the question box panel, which is present on the right-hand side of your screen, and we'll answer them at the end of the session. Now, I'll let Arman and Wasif take it forward.
Thank you, Kevin. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. As Kevin mentioned, I'm Arman Sami, and I work as a partnership manager at 42Gears. I'm based out of the Fremont, California office.
Well, hello, everybody. It's great to have you all here today. I am Wasif Syed, and I am the pre-sales engineer here at 42Gears, California. So let's get started.
Thanks, Wasif. Thanks, Kevin. And just to kind of start with some background here, guys, this is information which I think is going to be quite well known to many of you, but Apple is one of the most valuable brands in the world. The company's success comes in part from a strong brand loyalty that's translated into unparalleled revenue growth. The company reported $8 billion in 2004, and this has expanded to more than $265 billion by 2018. With more and more business deployments, Apple is putting more and more focus on enterprises. And this has caused Apple to introduce their new Apple Business Manager, ABM platform, which brings together Apple's Volume Purchase Program, VPP, and Apple's Device Enrollment Program, DEP, and takes both of these portals and puts them together under one umbrella. Now, businesses that already have Apple deployment or Apple device deployment and or use VPP and DEP, they need to migrate over and upgrade to ABM before December 1st, 2019. And we'll get into this a little bit more.
For years, Apple has empowered businesses to quickly ready devices for their users and help them be productive. Apple DEP was offered to simplify the initial setup and provisioning of iOS and macOS devices in enterprises. Apple VPP offered businesses the flexibility to purchase apps in volume and distribute them via third-party EMM solutions directly to employee devices. Now, Apple has decided to consolidate these features of DEP and VPP into a single portal called the Apple Business Manager, or ABM.
So this brings us to the great and very valuable question, why do you need ABM? Well, businesses that deploy devices and use VPP and DEP to manage them need to upgrade to ABM before December 1st, 2019. As previous Apple deployment programs will no longer be available beyond December 2019. Again, guys, if you are using VPP or DEP, you need to move over and migrate to ABM by December 2019. Apple recommends Apple's business program as the best platform for businesses using their products in general. The migration to Apple Business Manager is free, easy, and fast. It's important to note that ABM is not a replacement for a UEM solution. All devices deployed and configured using 42Gears UEM will continue to be deployed using the same admin services. ABM just allows businesses to manage DEP, VPP, Apple IDs, and that content and other content centrally. When deployed with 42Gears UEM, businesses can ensure a higher level of control and security on these devices. Apple Business Manager is accessible on the web and is designed for technology managers and IT administrators. Apple Business Manager, ABM, lets you buy content and configure device enrollment in your mobile device or into your mobile device management solution, or MDM, EMM, UEM. It enhances your experience by consolidating the management features of DEP and BPP portals under one roof to manage devices, apps, purchases, etc. And will no longer need or no longer require you to have two separate accounts, two separate logins, or visit two separate portals. Again, you're just going to ABM.
Exactly. Now, let's dive into some capabilities for what businesses can utilize with Apple Business Manager. The first is device enrollment. With a combination of ABM and 42Gears UEM, you can remotely enroll devices and easily set up Wi-Fi configurations, business emails, and VPN. This ensures that employees can start using their devices right out of the box. Next, the Apple Business Manager, along with 42Gears UEM, lets you enforce enterprise policies to target devices and set restrictions. You can even wipe off out-of-compliance corporate devices. Volume purchasing. With VPP earlier, businesses had to purchase apps and books by providing their respective Apple IDs. But with ABM in the picture, this is no longer the case. ABM allows businesses to directly and easily purchase and distribute public applications, custom business-to-business apps in large quantities, as well as manage licenses for users through the ABM portal. You can even pre-purchase books and distribute them.
So now that you have a better understanding of ABM, let's go into some benefits. Now, you might note that some of these benefits were already provided with DEP and BPP, but I'm going to go over them again for those that don't know, and for those that do know, just so you can rest assured and be aware that these features are still rolling over as part of ABM. First, if you ask me, one of the biggest benefits, managing everything from one portal. Apple Business Manager eliminates the need and the use of two separate portals, again, DEP and BPP. You can just log into one portal at one place and manage everything from there. ABM lets you install a non-removable MDM profile. Once devices are configured into an MDM, device management cannot be purged by users. This is a very valuable feature that if you're not using ABM or DEP, is something which alone provides so much value. Of course, as an admin, you are able to remove the profiles. Devices will be ready to use just out of the box. Apple Business Manager simplifies the enrollment and configuration of corporate Apple devices, which in turn means that you are going to be reducing the time and costs for you or other IT administrators as it takes to touch every device or set it up. Distribution of apps and books, what used to be BPP and through the tokens, can now be purchased and distributed B2B and public apps, can be used public apps and books. They can all be distributed in bulk through the ABM portal. Assigning default DEP servers based on device types. So this is a relatively new and very cool feature. Unlike previous enrollment portals, DEP, which automatically would assign newly added devices to a default MDM server, ABM now lets you select a default enrollment server based on the types of Apple devices. For instance, you can say that all my Apple TVs are managed by this server, you should go there, and iPads and iPhones here, finally MacBooks there. So we're just ever expanding on what you can do within that space of sending a device to a specific server for management. And finally, lastly, using store credits to pre-purchase apps and books. This seems very straightforward, and it is. ABM streamlines the purchase process of apps and books. Businesses can simply buy apps and books with a purchase order. Woohoo! Whenever businesses buy BPP credits from Apple or an Apple authorized reseller, the credits get added to ABM portal. Apple validates the registered account via an email with a link to a secured inbox.
Now let's talk about how you would upgrade to ABM. This process would be applicable to businesses with an existing MDM server and a DEP and/or VPP account. If you already signed up for either a DEP or VPP account in the past, you can easily migrate to the new Apple Business Manager. ABM supports device enrollment, volume purchases, and role administration across 64 different countries. Now, before you switch to ABM, there are certain things that you might want to consider. The supported browsers for enrolling your organization into Apple Business Manager are Safari 9 or higher, Google Chrome 35 or later, and Microsoft Edge version 25.10 or higher. Next, there's no going back. Once you upgrade to Apple Business Manager, you'll no longer have access to the old DEP or VPP portals. Now, let's see step by step on how to get started with ABM. First, you'll need to create an Apple Business Manager account to get started. To do that, you need to complete the online enrollment process at business.apple.com and provide information about your organization, including name, phone number, and a valid DUNS number associated with your company. A DUNS number is a unique 9-digit number that identifies each organization on the basis of its location. Obtaining a DUNS number is crucial in order to create an account for ABM enrollment. Once you have an Apple Business Manager account and once you log in, let's go into the SureMDM console to start the linking of the device enrollment part with Apple Business Manager. Once you're on your 42Gears UEM console, click on the settings on the top right and then go into account settings. Inside your account settings screen, click on the drop down on the left that says iOS and macOS settings. Here, you will click on DEP to configure the device enrollment part of ABM. To do that, the first step is to create a new DEP profile. To click on Add, and here are the options that are available to the IT admin. That basically means that the end users will skip from doing either a password setup on the startup of the device or location services setup, or either restoring from backup. One of the fields is the MDM profile removable, which basically means that if you select this option and if it's enabled, this will allow the device users to remove the MDM profile from the device. Let's give it a name and hit save. Next, let's go ahead and create the DEP server. To do that, click on Add, and let's give it a name. And then select the DEP profile that we just created and hit Add. Now let's do a token exchange between the 42Gears UEM console and the Apple Business Manager. Select the recently created DEP server inside your SureMDM console, click on Upload Token, and download the PEM certificate. Once it is downloaded, let's go into the Apple Business Manager account and go into Settings. Go into Device Management Settings and select Add New MDM Server. Let's give it a name. And choose a file. Click Open and hit Save. This on the next screen will allow you to download a token. So you will download the server token and go back into your SureMDM console, from where you will upload this recently downloaded server token. Hit Upload, and in a moment you will see an uploaded successfully message. This means that you've successfully enrolled your DP, your device enrollment part of Apple Business Manager, into your SureMDM console, and you're now ready to assign devices to your SureMDM console. Going back into Apple Business Manager, let's look at how you will assign devices. So if you go into device assignments, you can enter it either using a serial number. So if there's one device, you can enter comma-separated serial numbers, or you could do an order number or to import all the serial numbers of that of devices that are listed with that particular order number, or upload a list of CSV files. Once you enter a serial number of the device, you'll go ahead and select Assign to Servers in the drop-down menu below, and you'll choose the MDM server that you want to assign it to, and hit Done. Once complete, you will need to turn on the device and connect the device to a Wi-Fi network. Once it is connected to a Wi-Fi network, the setup process will be initiated, and it will show a screen confirming that the device will be managed by the SureMDM console. Once complete, the device will then appear on the SureMDM console, ready to be managed. Now, let's talk a little bit about pushing apps and contents onto your devices. To do that, you would need to go into the Apps and Books section of your Apple Business Manager and select the application that you want to make available to your users. You will enter the quantity of licenses and hit Get, and then you will see the available licenses that you have and the consumed licenses in total. Once this is done, you will then go ahead and link the volume purchase part of ABM to your 42Gears UEM console. To do that, you'll go into Settings and click on Apps and Books. Once you click on Apps and Books, it'll then give you all your information, as well as a server token that you'll need to download. You can go ahead and download this server token, which is the VPP token, and then go back into your UEM console and hit the volume purchase part, select the server token here, and hit Open, and hit Upload. Once this is complete, you will see an uploaded successfully message, and then you can sync the applications, and all the applications that are associated with your Apple Business Manager account will appear here on your SureMDM console. From here, you can then assign your apps to users or assign them to a particular device. So we covered the transferring of VPP apps and licenses without any impact from your Apple Business Manager into your SureMDM console.
All right, thank you, everybody. This brings us to the end of our session. Thank you for listening, and I would now like to move to the Q&A session. If you have a query related to any features or any part of the demo, I would request you to add them to the question box below. I see there already are some, so that's fantastic.
Awesome. So the first question that I see is, how long will this upgrade process take? Well, that's a great question. This upgrade process only takes a few minutes. So it's not a tedious process at all. It just is a matter of click of a few buttons. Awesome. So I see another question. How easy is it to switch to a DEP enrolled device from one MDM to another MDM? That's a great question too. So once you have your devices inside the Apple Business Manager portal, you can reassign the devices that you want at any time. So all you have to do is select the device and assign it to a different MDM server, and then proceed with the enrollment step that was demoed, basically, which means factory reset the device and connect it to Wi-Fi. And once it's done, you'll see it inside your new MDM console. I see a few more questions on the panel that we didn't have time to answer. We will email replies to your questions as soon as possible.
And really quick, Wasif, I think that there's a couple more we can quickly get out here. I see one, does the software still need to wipe the phone to enable the software fully? Or do we need supervised mode? So that's a great question. I can tell that you already know a lot about managing iOS devices. At ABM, the process is very similar, if not exactly the same, as using DEP. So when you set up DEP, you might have noticed that when the profile was made, or when you set up ABM, the MDM profile that was made enables supervised mode. That was one of the checkboxes up at the very top. To get this mode set up, you would need to factory reset the device. Now, where this really plays a impactful role is on first time setup and first time enrollment of a device. So when you're using DEP, what Apple is hoping is that you're doing this before you have the device in your hands. When you get the device, everything is set up and you turn it on, everything starts to work. However, for devices which you might already own, already deployed, unfortunately, you still need to factory reset the device to make sure that supervised mode is enabled. And for those of you that are not familiar with the term supervised mode, this is the term that Apple uses to signify a device which is fully managed and fully controlled by a supervisor or an organization. Non-supervised devices would be devices where you have limited control. Traditionally, these might be a BYOD, bring your own device situation where maybe I am a employee of 42Gears. I bring my own iPhone to the company. And for me to get access to my emails and other work-related applications, I need to enroll my iPhone into a BYOD enrollment. My device is not supervised. And the amount of control that 42Gears has on my phone is much more limited than a quote-unquote supervised phone. I see a couple more of us. Are you able to get?
So I can get one more, which is about remote wipe on laptops, and this is the remote wipe on macOS devices, so which is also completely possible if they're enrolled from DEP into SureMDM. So I think with that, I apologize, guys. We didn't have time to answer all of your questions. We will email replies. We'll send out emails with your replies as soon as possible. If you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to us at webinars@42gears.com or visit us at www.42gears.com. With that, we come to the end of this session. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today, and I hope to see you soon in our next webinar session.